WN95HL Weekly with your host, Ultra Magnus. Hey, ladies and gents, this is your host, Ultra Magnus, and this is WNHL 95 Weekly Conference Final Preview, and as well as What If is back again for this week, and we'll talk about the new Google Sheets and draft overview for those new guys. So this week is primed up for the conference finals between the Thunder Bay Pike and the Manhattan Swayzes. We haven't yet had my Dark Side of 95 with Segathon for his Manhattrix, but I did have the one with Sean Bell. It was a little bit of poor quality on both our sides because of the connections problem, but overall, the fact that the Thunder Bay Pike have a feeling that the Manhattrix might be a little overmatched. But from our experience so far, what we've experienced with the Manhattrix, they're an undervalued team. They carry a lot of different things that we're just wondering, could they put it past this year? They had a chance. We did the what if they had beat the Thunder Bay in Season 2, would they be the Bruley Cup champs at this point? But we're going to find out. I'm predicting Manhattrix in 6. Then the other side, we have Autobahn and the Milwaukee Half Pucks with B. Clinto 1 and Colin. So the big thing is with this series here is that we have, well, both series actually, we have Segathoners versus Waterloo Tribes. And it's potential we can have an all Waterloo finals again with Colin and Sean. We can have an all Segathon final with Autobahn and Segathon. Or it'll be a battle of supremacy, whoever is going to win in these series. And maybe we'll have a Segathon versus Waterloo final. So there's some bragging rights attached to that. But Autobahn and Milwaukee are playing tonight at 9. And we're waiting for an update on Sean Bell and Segathon for their matchup. Winner of that goes for the Bruley. And also we're hoping for the shitty bill to finish a little bit sooner than most so that we can get the draft going. A lot of people are antsy. People want draft. People want to see who's going to pick who. But we're going to find that stuff out down the road. So hopefully we get this stuff done. Some guys are going on vacation. We want to make sure we got everything done before then. But we're going to quickly go through the draft overview. So everybody wanting to know what the draft overview, what the hell the deal is, what's going on, go to draft history. This will give you the draft order. So Slavotonic, Comical Font, Caden, and Aftershock. You come over here on tab where it says draft history and you'll actually see the draft order. If there's any trades that are missing to be updated, we'll update them. But basically wherever you see your banner, and then you have your pick selection right there as well. Draft capital is your way you can look into the scene for that as well. But draft order is basically you have 15 minutes if everybody's live to make your pick. Otherwise, there's a 1 hour window, and otherwise it'll be BPA, best player available. Everybody will know when the draft's going on, so it's not like you're going to be caught off guard by it. Just be aware the draft's going to happen. The other thing is the new Google Sheets. Google Sheets has taken a new look. Everything's kind of changed up a bit. We'll hide this now so that I'm done it. So everybody's seen the new Google Sheets. Everything's a little bit newer. We have our active tab with all the previous box art from every season from 95 to the current date, and the rating system hasn't changed. Player careers, same thing. I've cleaned up the side here instead of having the banners. It makes the Google Sheets go a little bit faster without having that. But you'll also see rookies and free agents, and everything is in top overall value down to lowest overall value. Player skills. Now you got the player's image. You have their high throughout their career, their average throughout their career, and their low throughout their career. Whatever their lowest is of that. Their overall average throughout their career, and all their overalls break down every season. You have your attribute scale here. Shows you what a 5, a 6, a 3, a 2, whatever that value actually is inside the section of their attributes is what their value is. Stick handling is the only one that's off because it's based on a 15 scale. We have our trade calculator. You can go in here, you can select the 2 teams, you could go in here, you choose, what is his fucking top player, Steve Weiserman, and you can check what his value is. They'll tell you how many years he has left, his overall total based on those years, based on these values here, And then also his average season is an 86, and gives you the total point score, and then a point to the team that has the advantage. So the lower score will go to the advantage team. The standings are going to be the same thing next season. Nothing's going to change there, but you'll see the bottom divisions have 5 teams in it. Team page is changed up a little bit. Nothing new, nothing crazy, but it might come up with a little bit more of a revamp. Power rankings are coming back. This will be updated weekly. We'll have our preseason rankings, what you ended the season with. It's based on kind of where you ended the year, not necessarily like your performance. It's just basically like if your team went into like the second or third round of the shitty bill, you're likely going to have a higher overall score, but you will not have a higher score than somebody who's in the Bruley Cup. Player leaders take a little bit of a change. I'm not doing the color coding thing because that actually slows down the Google Sheets as well. If you want to filter checks or points, it will change so you can see what it is. And the left side here will update based on the season. So if you want to go back in 96 to see what the league leaders were, it will show you here on the left is Joe Sakic for goals, Joe Sakic for points, and then also the points and everything else. Goalies are independent as well. So look, you have based on 98 and 96. You can change that however you want. Team leaders, same thing, based on the seasons. This over here on the left-hand side is based on the season as well. So you can go like this and go 98. It will update. And the color coding I left for this because it seems a little bit more valuable for the teams. Previous seasons, a lot of people have mentioned this to bring this up. I want to see what was like back in the first season. You can go 95. It will filter the whole standings from 95 and as well as the playoffs. You can see how all the playoffs transpired in season 1 all the way up to now. You have 96, 97, 98, and it will be all the way through. Records, I'm updating this right now as well. So records will be updated and cleaned up. Draft history, I already went over it. Draft capital, 1 year in advance. So you can, 2 years in advance you can trade. So if we're currently in 99, season 5, you can trade draft picks up to season 7, not beyond. So you can trade whatever you want, but it also has to go through the trade calculator, and the committee will review it. The committee will review your draft proposition to the team that you're trading with and approve it or decline it. And if they decline it, they'll send it back to both GMs and say revise this trade until it's balanced, or to some degree beneficial for both sides. And then we have your previous awards as well, so you can also filter out based on your awards. So we're going to go back to, what's my favorite tab in here? We'll go to active. I just think it looks awesome. So we've arrived now to our what if category. What if that happened? What if this happened? What if? This week's segment of what if is, what if I had to compare our current WNHL 95 teams to NHL teams, current season, 2022, which of our WNHL 95 teams are best comparable to an NHL team? I'm going to go through it. There's going to be only 3 teams that are going to be duplicated, which are expansion teams. You're all Seattle. Seattle had a regular expansion team experience in season 1 in 2021-22. Bottom of the league with Arizona and Montreal. But that's likely what's going to happen with all 3 of you. If one of you can surprise, great. We experienced that in season 4 with Helsing, with Tickness. Yeah, he surprised everybody. He came out of the gates, got into the Bruley Cup playoffs, went 6 with the Gaelic Gopher in the Minnesota team. But I'm going to give you my NHL comparable and the rationale behind why. I wrote them down. I'm going to try to understand why I wrote that. I'm not going to give a justification. I'm just going to explain. Well, maybe it's somewhat of a justification. So we're going to go alphabetical order in our league. Autobahn, B. Clinton 1. Your NHL comparison team is the Carolina Hurricanes. High-powered offense, solid goaltending, elite goaltending in your case with Dominic Hasek. But Carolina, they were a solid team all year, one of the top seeds. Colors are pretty much comparable as well with the red and whites. But Autobahn just spots a team with, like, we can see on the screen here of what he's spotting with his roster. Brendan Shanahan, Jeff Sanderson, Leach, and Chilios. When you have a back end of Leach and Chilios with Dominic Hasek, It just makes things so much easier. And the bad thing is with Autobahn, do they get to the Bruley Cup Finals? They already outperformed Carolina because Carolina got knocked out in round 2 or round 1 by Boston. I can't remember who, but neither here or there. We go on to Brantford with Ganby. I compare his NHL team comparable to the Anaheim Ducks. Reason for that is if you look at Ganby's roster, he's got all his players are starting to hit their stride now. And in like 2001, his team's going to be outright disgusting. The only thing he's missing is goaltending. Anaheim, they have John Gibson, but that's pretty much it on net. Front, they have electric Trevor Zegras. They have McTavish. They have some great defensive players. They're just a stacked team with a lot of potential moving forward. And how Ganby finished his end of his season shows signs that he's a team on the rise. Other than Elias, I'd say Ganby and G-Lock are the other two teams that are showing so much improvement. Can't Stand You is another team that could come out of the fucking woodworks as well and show us all. But Ganby has a roster that's more comparable to Anaheim in their trajectory going forward. We can scroll down to Caledonia with Golfer Gibb. His NHL comparable team is the Islanders. They're a team in transition, even though they're an expansion team overall. Adding Nicholas Lindstrom gives you a rear guard right there. He's got Tom Barrasso in net. I think Sorokin is the goaltender for the Islanders. He's got great defense with Nicholas Lindstrom, who's going to hit his stride starting next season. He's got some solid forwards, not an overly offensive team, but can still make some noise when he can. And after watching that Game 7 series against Can't Stand You, I really do think they're more of a team in transition, which even though they're an expansion team, they're a team in transition going into Season 2. Make that leap into the playoffs. Next team is the Charlestown Chiefs with Sammy Smith, 33. His NHL comparable team is San Jose. I went with San Jose because if you look at the Sharks roster, they have a lot of seasoned vets, guys who are looking towards retirement. Sammy Smith's got that kind of same roster. Gretzky's looking for retirement after this season. Roenick is going to have a couple more good years and then on the decline. You look at San Jose, they got Erik Karlsson, they got Brett Burns, they got guys, Pavelski left, which I wouldn't really know who the comparable is, but maybe kind of like when he traded Chilios. It's just like there's a lot of factors that come in play with this team. And then picking up Richter, give them at least a good backstop for the next couple seasons. And it's actually Richter's best season is 99. Grand River Hurons with Moses. And his comparable team is Dallas. Dallas has Joe Pavelski. They got Tyler Seguin, which on his team would be like Mark Recchi, Radek Dvorak. On the back end, he's kind of weak on that end. They do got some good defensemen, but I wouldn't say that they're like, wow, look at their roster. I do know they have Klingberg, who's very good, but that would be his Adam Foote. Maybe not right now, but he's got the trajectory, and Adam Foote has a few good seasons that project him into that. I don't remember who Dallas's goaltender is, but I think it was Ben Bishop at some point this season. But they're a team. They're a team that needs to be seasoned, and they're just missing an extra gear to get themselves going. The Hamilton Mustangs with Derek Sutton. Your NHL comparable team is the Philadelphia Flyers, minus Carter Hart, because Carter Hart he's going to be a great goalie in the league regardless. I think Hamilton's missing that key backstop. Ken Reggett was okay with what you have in net right now, but I just don't see him being something to help you move forward. It's just something missing. Maybe I haven't updated, and I think you actually have Chris Osgood right now. I don't know, but. You have Tony Amonte, who's your big bolster, which Philadelphia's got some good players. But you traded Claude Giroux away. You got rid of Shane Gosh to spare. You have some good prospects coming up. But like even his roster, he's got Kovalev, he's got Suter, he's got Anson Carter, he's got Amonte. You're missing that backstop. Philadelphia has Carter Hart. Is this the draft where Hamilton goes and gets that backstop to give them that opportunity to become that up-and-coming team again? Helsing, the Yokert with thickness. St. Louis Blues. would be my comparable team. Veteran team with it's in sync. You add the Russians, Larionov, Kamensky, and Kozlov, and then you add even Boris Marinov on the back end. It's just the passing this team makes. St. Louis is that seasoned team. They had the playoff experience. They won the Stanley Cup. Ron Hextall is that team that's like, Hextall kind of reminds me a little bit right now of Binnington. Like, had his championship year and then just hasn't really done anything. Or Husso is their goalie now. They might actually lose him in for free agency. Who knows? But I would say right now that Helsing right now you need that you need that thing to gain that extra level in this team to push them on. St. Louis had a great NHL season. I just don't think St. Louis is a Stanley Cup contender right now. I don't think Helsing is a Bruley Cup contender right now, but will be a perennial challenger for the Cup if you can add a few extra components. The Highland Wolf. Woo! It's more of like kind of a pouty little purr because the Highland Wolf is Vegas Golden Knights. Had so much expectations of being a rock bottom team, like going to like gangbusters, trade everybody away, pick up every single best prospect you can handle. Where did it leave you? Out of the playoffs. Vegas missed the playoffs for the first time in their league history. It's the same thing with the Wolf. First time in league history, he's missed the Bruley Cup playoffs. Got put into the play-in series and got eliminated by McLean. So Wolf, you're in the same bucket as Vegas. You're on are you the team on the decline now because you finally missed the playoffs and the competition's getting stiffer and you've been demoted to Tier 3? Hoth Wampas with Caden is an expansion team, Seattle. You're going to go through the trials and tribulations of every expansion team. You're going to take your lumps here and there. Luckily for all the Tier 4 teams, you only have to play Tier 3 within your division and everybody else is Tier 4. So it'll give some good competition, some good practice, and the winner of those divisions will move up into the play-in series with an opportunity to play higher caliber. And then transition from there. Matty A with K Vegas. Arizona Coyotes. Yeah, the Coyotes. Trade everybody away. He picked a biggie, so it's maybe a transition in the right direction. And we just got to hope and fingers crossed. The Manhattricks. The Colorado Avalanche. A team that's always there. A team that's always competing, just haven't put the season together. Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing. Do we have the Manhattricks winning the Bruley Cup this year like the Colorado Avalanche? Fingers crossed. I picked Manhattricks to win the Bruley Cup this year. But I do see them as being that team. Always there, but hasn't made the most of it when they had the opportunity to close it out and win. They have that opportunity now. They'll down B the fuck out of you. Down doggy B's. And they'll go, I'm going to Patrick Swayze this all the way to town. Then we move into the Minnesota Golden Gophers with Gaelic Gopher. I'd say the Nashville Predators. A roster with Roman Josi. You got that solid defenseman, which is your Sergei Gonchar. Is your Roman Josi. You have another good defenseman with Roman Harmelick. Your goaltending is kind of suspect, kind of like Nashville's was this year, and you really don't have any firepower. Renberg would be your Philip Forsberg. But other than that, you look at Nashville, you're like, could you name more than 5 players off of Nashville's roster? I don't think many people can. So it's the same thing with Golden Gophers team. You can't really name many people off their roster other than Corey Millen, who's gone, Michael Renberg, and their 2 defensemen. It's just like that. You can't remember many people off their team. North Bay Knights with the Unholy. I truly believe this is probably one of the best comparables in the league. Is the Calgary Flames. Great backstop with Jacob Markinson. You got Johnny Hockey with your Jaromir Jagr. You got your Tyler Toffoli's. You got your solid defense. You have your Matthew Tkachuk. He's got a star-studded forward cast. But just can't finish it. Calgary went and traded for Toffoli, went and traded for some other players to hope to get into the Stanley Cup Finals, but fell short. I think they got eliminated by Edmonton. Yeah, they got eliminated by Edmonton in 6, I think it was. Next team, Pitt Intramurals with Adolf Oliver Nepres. Much. Your team is the Florida Panthers. President's Trophy winners. Get bounced. get bounced. First team in WNHL 95 history to be the Bruley Cup or the Classic Cup champion and gets eliminated and doesn't win the Bruley. Shame on you, much. Adolf, much. Loser, much. Yinza, very much. Next team, Providence Seabass with Lloyd 10 Xmas. Your guy team would be the Minnesota Wild. I know a lot of Minnesota people would be like frowning upon this and being like, what the hell? Why would you compare him to that team? I would say because you have Special K, Mike Modano, Kirill Kurizov is your Minnesota Wild player. There's a lot of other good Minnesota Wild players. I just can't name them. Special K is the only one I can mention, which is your Mike Modano.